French President Emmanuel Macron has said that no leader lasts forever ahead of Group of Seven, G7, summit in Canada as attendees look to take up more confrontational stance against Donald Trump in the wake of trade spat that has left Washington isolated. Mr. Macron spoke alongside Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Thursday, just a day before the summit in Charlevoix. Canada is to open up, said that they will push back against Mr. Trump's America First policies to keep the international order intact. You say the US president doesn't care at all. Maybe, but nobody is forever, Mr. Macron said. The 6 countries of the G7 without the United States are a bigger market taken together than the American market. There will be no world hegemony if we know how to organize ourselves. And we don't want there to be one, he continued. This year's G7 summit, which consists of the US, France, the UK, Japan, Germany, Italy, and Canada, is expected to be dominated by Mr. Trump's approach to international diplomacy, which diverts markedly from past American presidents, and appears less concerned with international consensus than it is with wielding US power like a blunt instrument to appeal to the president's supporters back home and to try and bend other countries to his will. Mr. Trump's willingness to project his comfort with breaking international norms and upsetting allies has already had a notable impact. While the diplomats in charge of negotiating a joint statement from the countries at the end of the summit usually have the general language of the thing put together, it is not currently known whether the countries will be able to find enough common ground for a joint statement at all this year. The US president tweeted that he was looking forward to seeing other international leaders at Friday's summit to discuss trade, singling out his French and Canadian counterparts in particular for what he said were massive tariffs imposed by their respective countries on American imports. A central concern for the bloc of countries, which together represent some 62% of the world's net worth, 46% of the world's GDP, and 32% of the world's purchasing power, is Mr. Trump's imposing tariffs on steel and aluminium imports, which have aggravated relationships between the US and its international partners. While concerned countries have scrambled to negotiate with the United States, and avoid those sorts of measures and the ripple effect that those tariffs could have for the broader market. Mr. Trudeau, whose government has been negotiating with the US over those tariffs and over the North American Free Trade Agreement, has called the idea of tariffs insulting. American jobs are on the line because of his actions and because of his administration, Mr. Trudeau said at the joint news conference on Parliament Hill. When we can underscore this, and we see that there's a lot of pressure within the US, perhaps he will revise his position.